How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of No Politics, No Religion. Tell us your story. We're so excited that you came out here and joined us. Once again, we're here in lovely Brownsville, Texas. We're at Fly the Flag Coffee Shop having a good old time. I'm eating something called a chulo cake because I am so chulo. Speaking of chulo and good looking, I'm here with the one and only, my dear friend. His name is Abram Caballero. I was fortunate enough to meet him about a year and a half ago. I did a speech for him and his wonderful people that are part of his team. Abram, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on. And I'm a little bit jelly because you're having a chulo cake and I'm not.
I know. We'll split the chulo because maybe this is too much chulo for one world.
Right.
That's why they're just like, we can give you a knife and you can split it because too much of the chulo.
Yeah.
So Abram, I met him through a mutual friend of ours named Abraham, who's a videographer. So I reached out to Abraham. I said, hey, I need to do a speech. I'll donate the speech. Just find me somewhere to go and perform. I performed for this gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what his business was, didn't know what his company was, and he's going to tell you all about it and all about his journey. But before we start that, I do want to start with something that's a little bit youthful, a little bit pure. The world right now thinks it's in chaos, and yes, there are bad things out there, but there's also good things to take away. Like they say, gratitude is the attitude, and a good attitude makes a good day great. So I want to go back to a more innocent time, a younger time where we asked each other silly questions.
Okay.
So the silly question for you is, if you had a superhero power, what would your superhero power be?
Okay. So two things, because one of them would be, I would like to make time go faster. Because there was at one point I was saying, man, I would like to try time travel so I can change, this and that. But it is what has happened that has made me. It was what has happened that has made everybody. So I wouldn't want to change the time because then that would be taken away.
Okay.
So instead, I would like to speed up the time and then see what's going to be the outcome of all of these things that we go through. I want to see my future self, in other words.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask. You saw the look on my face. I'm like,
Yeah.
You're like my future self. This is crazy. This is an entrepreneurial mindset, clearly, because Rebecca Garcia, who you also know, had an answer very similar to that.
No way.
Hers was, if I'm not mistaken, and we can check the replay later, but I believe it was time management. She wanted to have more time to get the things done in order to help the people that she could help. She wanted better time management.
Gotcha.
And I respect the heck out of both of you guys. And it's clear that you're cut from the same cloth, at least when it comes to winning.
Yeah. That's interesting. I haven't seen the episode. I saw the pictures, man. They were great pictures. There was that authentic laugh. I know how she laughs.
We had a moment on there where we definitely broke away from the actual podcast, and I threw some inside baseball. I don't think she was thinking I was going to do that because we were like, life and all these things and this great thing. And I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, what? And she had a moment where, yeah, she was like, I didn't see that coming. And I'm a bit of a goober. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
You're born and raised in Brownsville, Texas.
Born and raised in Brownsville, Texas. Yeah. Downtown, to be specific. I lived right next to a park where there was a lot of homeless people. It had like a stadium, somewhat of a stadium, like an area, bleachers and so on. And a lot of homeless people would be there. And nearby, maybe about a block or two away from the park, there's a homeless shelter. So you can only imagine it's infested with homeless people. There was a lot of gangs and violence in that area. There was a lot of drug usage as I was growing up. I would go out there, play ball, but I was always influenced and looking at drug dealers that were in the area. So I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
So that was your first exposure to someone who was kind of their own independent person. You were like, hey, this guy seems to be working for himself.
Yeah, no, not really.
I wasn't sure.
No,
I wasn't sure.
I was just kidding about it. But it is true, though. There was a lot of drug dealers in the area. I never thought that I wanted to be a business owner. The only business owner, entrepreneur in my family was my aunt. And this was in Mexico. So she had a carniceria where you go there, you buy meats. It's a meat place, right? And every time I would go over there, the way that she received us was like no other. We would get there and she was like, oh my gosh, mijo, this and that. The family, hey, go on, take a seat. Amazing place, amazing house. Huge yard, huge place. and dogs, everything's super beautiful. All these cars that they always had. It was an hacienda. And
Can you explain what that is to the people out there? Because it's going to be more than the valley just listening.
Hacienda?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like a ranch, but it's beautiful. Just the way that it's built, a huge wall of bricks around the place. You had a gate open and closed. It was very novela type,
Yeah.
right? Very soap opera. And so you would get there and she would greet us, and she had maids and so on, and they would treat us amazing. And I thought it was a luxury. And I've actually spoken to my mom about this and spoken to a few friends about this because I recently realized this. I thought it was a luxury to have avocado. When I was growing up, we didn't have avocado.
Mm-hmm.
So I would get there and she had this big old bowl of avocado, smashed avocado. And they would be making, hey, mijo, you want some tortillas? You want some tortillas? We'll have them homemade. Don't worry about anything. Just go take a seat. Go, what do you want to drink? And everything that we wanted, you want a toy? Go grab a toy from the store. It was her store. It was her carniceria, her meat market. It was just an amazing place to go and, be received so lovingly.
I think that's one of the beautiful things about this region is we have that interesting Texas-Mexico blend. And I think that's very much infused with a culture that's very generous. Go grab this, go grab that. And I know it was hers and it was her store and it was her ranch, but she was still, I bet you weren't the only one that she shared with.
Yeah, I was the only one.
Yeah, you were the only one that was chulo enough.
I would like to think that I was the only one.
But yeah, I'm sure the maids were taken care of and all of those people. And it's a really cool thing. We used to run down the store. I grew up in Donna. And again, this is a common theme because yesterday the guy that I was sitting with is from Brownsville as well.
Okay.
And border town's been a theme lately. And it is very community oriented. And we used to get handed change and we would run to the bakery and they would give us free gum and we'd buy some little buns. And it's a really unique and cool way to grow up. It's very embracing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that was an influence, and it would make me wonder, like, man, I know that I was in elementary when we would go over there, and I thought maybe it's better to live in Mexico because I want that lifestyle. But what I wasn't seeing is that it was just the entrepreneurship that was behind it, right? It just gave her more of a luxury and a flexibility and more income to be able to support everything that she would do, becoming more generous as she has more, right? And so when we'll come back to the States, we'll come back to a home, everything was so limited. And I was just telling my son this the other day. I was like, man, you have the luxury to have multiple shoes. I had one pair and we didn't have AC in the house. We have the luxury of having AC in the house.
How's it going? How's it going, man? I'm Jacob, dude. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry about it. We're real people in real time. We decided to come here, shout you guys out, then have a little bit of chulo cake, some water, and all that stuff. Cheers, brother.
Yeah. So, coming back over here and just noticing that we were so limited and there was a lot of things that we didn't have. So I always wanted to be over there. And I thought maybe it's better to go and live in Mexico. Maybe the economy is always great, So
it seems like that sometimes, though. We know better, but it does seem like that. Every time we go across the border, I jokingly tell my friends, leave me here. I'll be fine. Leave me here. I'm going to meet my wife.
Yeah.
And the reality is it's a fun joke and it's fun when we're there, but we're also there coming from a position of we're in a position to go there for fun.
Right.
And it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So your aunt was your first brush with entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And I know this because the first time we had lunch together with you, your son, and your lizard, and his son actually has a little lizard that he keeps on his shoulder. We had talked about your path. You were going down one direction. You made the conscious decision to go into the world of entrepreneurship. Can we start back where you were a little rough behind the edges? What was some of your background?
Yeah. How dark do you want it to go?
As dark as you're willing to take it. Nobody here is going to judge you. This is a celebration of you and your path. You share what you want to share. I'm not going to pry. I'm not Barbara Walters. Okay. I'm not going to say, and then what happened?
Yeah.
No, you talk to the level of your comfort. So it's up to you, man.
Okay. Because I've had this in mind. I haven't been as open about it for probably because I was ashamed of it. I had shame and guilt of who I used to be and the decisions that I made, right? So I had my first kids when I was 16 and 17 years old. I dropped out of high school. I moved out to Corpus. I started working restaurants and so on. I had addictions uh, and alcoholism. Ever since a very young age, I was my mom. I don't know if she knew it. She never asked me about it, but she knew I was not myself. So there was that, and it just got worse whenever my kids were about 2-3 years old, and I was becoming so irresponsible, right? Even though I was a father, but I was becoming so irresponsible because I started making more money as I came back and I started working at the Port of Brownsville. And the decisions were just getting worse. And I went through a separation. And
the decisions were getting bad because of your abuse of alcohol?
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't because of the separation. It wasn't that what affected me. Like I felt like I was so immature that I actually thought that I was free,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I was free of responsibilities, but in reality, it should have been the other way around. So once I went through a separation, I felt like I was free. I was doing anything that I wanted, and it only got worse. And I ended up in a position of having to make a decision. Like, hey, I realized I went into a room alone, and without all the noise, without any influence, and I was there for quite some time, for multiple days actually, for about 3 days, 4 days, and I just thought, and I said, okay, this is not how I want my life. This is not the example that I need to set for my kids. I need to start changing and being better for them, because in anything that I do, they're going to need to do. They're going to watch me do it, and they're going to say, hey, I'm going to do the same thing because this is what my dad did. So that's where I decided. And I was like, and I started asking myself questions. Okay, so what is causing you to do make these bad decisions? And I learned that it was time. I had too much time on my hands. And I said, okay, well, if you have time, what else can you do with your time? Stay busy. Okay, so if you can stay busy, might as well make it productive. So I started asking myself questions, right?
All right.
And I was like, and if it's going to be productive, should I just make money at the same time? So, okay, do I go work more? And eventually I just came up with the idea. I was like, I should just start making money off this, like on the side of my job, which is picking up a few odd jobs. And I started mowing lawns, cutting grass, washing cars. Eventually, that kept me busy on the weekends. And I picked up a second job, and I was still doing that side hustle. And then I decided to go to school. So I did the medical assistant program. And so because I developed the habit of just constantly going, even at school, and at work and at school, I would offer to my teachers to wash their car while we were on break. So we had like a 10, 15-minute break. And I would tell them like, hey, I'll wash your car. Like, Abram, we only have like 15, 20 minutes. That's cool. Do you have $5? I'll go wash it for you. I'll bring it right back. And I was making like a $2 profit. I just needed to stay busy to keep my mind off, my addictions. And, even when I would get home at 11 p.m., I would find to see what I can do, study, just keep my mind busy. There was times that my thoughts would still beat me, and I would go back to it for that night. And then the following day, or like for another 2 weeks, I would stay off it. And then, so like it was a little bit of a battle, and I was talking to another friend about it. But I've actually had such a hard time even sharing that. Such a hard time, until Rebecca was the first one that I asked, hey, what do you think? This was, I think, at the beginning of this year. I had a conversation with her. I was like, hey, you know what? I think I'm ready to tell my story. I think I'm ready to talk about this stuff. And she's like, hey, whatever you feel is best. If you think that it's going to be advantageous for other people, if it's going to help other people, do it. And I said, okay. Because if I do it, then now it's going to change the atmosphere of the individuals that have known me for so long.
Right.
Now they're going to be like, oh, wow, I didn't know that about you. I don't know if that's a good thing. Right.
There's times when I deal with public perception, and I'm like, how much do I want to divulge? There's an idea of who I am versus who I actually am. I mean, we can be more than one thing. And that's something I still from time to time have to struggle with. But I think, I could be wrong, when you're honest with people, the right ears will listen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're not You're not going to be able to, the old saying, it's not mine. You can't please all the people all the time, some of the people, some of the time, etc. And I think your story, and I've heard variations of it, parts of it, I think it is important. I think it's important for anybody to tell their full story. I don't care if you're running for office. I don't care if you're a doctor. I don't care if you're a custodian or a barista. You're human. Find a perfect person out there and I'll buy your next house. You know what I'm saying? That's good. I love that. I love the fact that you did something to keep your mind busy. Because I think I have a friend of mine who just defeated drinking. And that was one of the things. And we talked about it. We're like, bro, you have too much time on your hands. He's like, I work a full-time job. And I go, then you might need to get a second.
Yep.
Because you're on your off time, you just run to the bottle like it's your best friend. Since then, he has kicked the habit. But I love that you had the foresight and the wherewithal to decide to keep yourself busy.
Yeah.
So you went to school, you kept yourself busy, you washed the cars. Then what happened once you were done with school?
When I was done with school, I got a better job because now I was working at the hospital. And at the hospital, did I still have it? I think I still had it. It's just I didn't do it for some time. I want to say maybe for about a year or two. And then I got comfortable. And I was like, all right, I'm making a little bit more money. You know what? I deserve this. I should, just get away for a bit. And I went back to the habit, but a little bit more controlled.
Right.
And I remember, man, like I had a girlfriend at the time. What was it? Yeah. And so like I would lie to her. Like I would tell her, hey, you know what? I'm going to go in and I'm going to go to sleep early. And I would stay up. I would go home and I would stay up for hours, because, I had gotten back to my old habits. And I would kick my own butt over it. But nonetheless, I knew that I had the strength to let it go. I didn't want to. I would enjoy it. It's not that I was escaping reality or anything like that. I enjoyed it.
It's fun.
It's
I
fun.
mean, I hate to I hate to advocate for drinking, but I've said that before with other people. It's like, I don't drink because I'm sad. I don't drink because I'm dealing with it. I drink because I was having this much fun. And if I drink, I'm having this much fun. And since then also, I've pulled it back. Mortality is a real thing and I want to take that into consideration. But yeah, it's fun. It can be fun.
Yeah.
Now I save it for special occasions when I'm traveling, blah, blah, blah. But let's go back to you.
Yeah. Mine wasn't only alcohol though.
Okay.
Mine was alcohol and drugs. And so I know that a lot of people would tell me and they would try and pull me back in and say, hey, you know what, it's on me this time, this and that. And I had to build the mental strength just to say no.
And this was in Corpus or here in the Valley?
That was here in the Valley. I moved to Corpus to get away from it because I needed it to, again. So like, think about it like this. If somebody that's going on a diet, if they're constantly like passing, treats and snacks and this and that, I mean, eventually they're going to just give in. And then, so what I had to do, I needed to get away from it. So you get out of that area, right? So that way it's not even out of sight, out of mind pretty much. So I moved out there, no friends. I would just ignore the calls. There's nobody that I knew, that I can pick it up from. Nobody to spend time with. I wasn't making any friends over there either. So it was just keeping even when I was over there, I was just keeping myself busy. If I wasn't working, I was washing cars. Like, how clean can it be?
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's amazing that you removed yourself. At least you saw the problem. You're sitting there and you're like, this isn't good. I have a friend like that too, another friend also from the Valley. And when he would go away, he'd be a good boy. He'd come back, he'd fall into his old habits. But he's super charismatic. So it got to the point where he would go away and he would just meet the right people, the wrong people. And it didn't matter what city he was in. He was just having a great time. And they're like, we like you. And then they were just all like, ah. And they would go over the top. And it's like, okay, now it's time for him just to kick it.
Yeah.
Because he's becoming this magnet for an unhealthy lifestyle. And so you end up coming back over here. You're done. You start working. What was the thing that got you into working for yourselves? Because if I'm not mistaken, at one point you said something about cell phones.
Yeah. So I learned that because of the washing cars, mowing lawns and all that, I had a little bit more control of that income and it was fast. So eventually when I was working at the hospital, I developed the curiosity. Oh, well, I'll tell you about the rubber watches.
Yeah.
There's some silicone watches that you
Mhm.
can get online from China,
Mhm.
and they're like for a few bucks, right? So I was wearing one this one time, and it would match my scrubs,
Mhm.
right? So so I got a compliment on it from one of the nurses there at the hospital, and she's like, "Hey, that's an awesome watch." And it wasn't a smartwatch. I don't think smartwatches weren't developed yet. This was in 2012,
Okay.
and so and she compliments me on the watch, and I said, "Yeah, if you want it." And she's like, "Yeah, I want one of those." She's like, I think she asked me if I would sell it or where can she buy it, and I was like, "Dude, just take this one. I'll sell this one. It matches your scrubs." And she said, "Well, how much?" $15. She's like, $15? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll take it. And so I sold it to her. And then so I ordered another one, but it took like a whole month for it to arrive. So I ordered another one, and same thing happened, right? Somebody walks by and they compliment the watch. And then I do the same thing. Hey, you want it? It matches your scrubs. Look, your tennies, this and that. So tell them the same thing. Sell it for 15. I was getting it for $4, $5. And so eventually what I started doing, I would order multiple colors that can match every scrub that I had. And I would tell the other nurses, hey, you have this color. If this one matches, have you ever thought about matching, silicone watches, blah, blah, little by little. Right. And so then I started picking up orders on watches, and I would order and I'll resell it to them. So it just became easier and easier. And then I developed the curiosity to tear a phone apart. Who does that, right? I want to know
Someone on drugs.
Yeah, someone on drugs and alcohol.
Yeah. Just,
Hey, I wonder what this thing has inside. Does it have a soul like me?
mm-hmm.
And so I remember one of the girls had one of the first Samsung smartphones with the AMOLED display, and it was just gorgeous, but it was cracked. And I said, maybe we can fix it. And I knew a little bit about tearing apart computers and putting them back together. So I ordered an HTC. Do you remember those?
Nope.
No, the HTCs.
Mm-hmm.
And so HTC Evo, they were really popular. I think they were like some of the more popular ones than before Samsung. So I ordered it, and I tore it apart and I put it back together. I was like, this is actually pretty easy. And so I looked up the parts, and they weren't too expensive. And from there, I started offering friends and family. I was like, hey, your phone is broken. You want me to check? You want me to replace the screen? No, it's too expensive. No, I'll charge you $30. Like, really? $30? Yeah. Okay, let's do it. And so I would charge them for the part, just like a mechanic. Hey, you know what you want to replace this part? It costs you $35 at AutoZone. I can put it on for you for $30. I'll have it within an hour. So that's, I started offering the service.
They buy the parts and they pay for labor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Offering a service. And so eventually I made business cards, and I started handing them out. And it got to a point where one repair, and I would give them 5 business cards, and I started getting a lot more people coming in. And I still had my full-time job. They influenced me on my job. One of the nurses, they influenced me to become an RN, so go back to school. So I went back to school, but I also had the cell phone business. And so at school, everybody that will come, oh, yeah, I can fix it. Oh, I can fix it. It was easy. So I started getting more clients. Eventually, I started making more money than my actual full-time job. But I still wanted my security, my paycheck.
Sure.
Right? So I was afraid to go off on my own, yet I knew how to do it. But all of this, other than keeping my mind busy to get away from drugs and alcohol, the other biggest motivator that I had was I was on child support. Right? So it kind of had me pinched.
Mm-hmm.
And at this time, when my kids were now like 3 or 4, when I had decided to make the decision of changing, I wanted to be better for them. So now I needed to make the money to have great weekends with them whenever I would have them. And we would go out to the park, buy McDonald's, all these little things, go to the movies, blah, blah. And so as I was growing my income outside of work, it was reflecting with them because they could see it now. Like, hey, yeah, let's go here. Let's go to Six Flags. Let's go here. Like, now let's travel. Let's go rent a hotel and stay at the island. Let's go this and that. And so I knew that I was setting a better example for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the whole point is I wanted to be a better father for them. Like something that I thought, okay, I would like my dad to have done this and that. So therefore, I'm going to do it because I'm going to be a better version of what I had every single time. Right. And I think that's something that I was talking to my nephew about. He wanted to be better than his dad. And I'm like, I want to be better than my dad.
Mhm.
Right. And what if they want to be better than me, which is
Good.
constantly getting better, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it starts with setting the example, and walking the walk, not just talking it.
Yeah, a lot of people talk a big game and they really it's just talk.
Right.
You know, I remember seeing at the beginning of the pandy, and you got this new thing going on. The world shuts down and people are getting unemployment checks. But I remember seeing a lot of people talk about before this, if I had more time, I'd do this thing. I'd
Mhm.
read these books. I'd get in shape. I'd cook more. And they always, and I had a suspicion that they wouldn't have. And then the world shut down and they had every opportunity to read more, to work out more, to learn a new language, to get a new license. And what I saw people double in size. It's like, wow, you went from here to here. It was all talk.
Mhm.
You were getting unemployment checks.
Mhm.
I was not self-employed, so I got one stimmy check.
Mm.
And then after that, I was just, making it happen. But I saw a bunch of people just showed who they were.
Right.
And, you do have to back it up. Nothing, you got to meet success at least halfway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you started doing the phones after you were mowing the lawns and washing the cars, doing the phones, keeping your job at the hospital. What was the thing that said, you know what, I want to go full-time entrepreneur versus part-time? Because it must be difficult to leave that safety.
Yeah.
There's a safety net that comes with a paycheck every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And you decided to leap, and that's because you have responsibilities. What was that thought process like to take that leap of faith?
So I thought about it multiple times, especially when I was doing the cell phones. I knew that the income was coming in. I mean, it was getting pretty good. I had already by that time, I had been doing it for about 6 years, 7 years, and I had made quite a bit of connections to where I was no longer selling just 1, 2 here and there. It was more like a box of 10, once 15, 20. And so the investment was higher. The return was also higher at a time. But I started looking into finances, right? Which is, I was working as a paramedic now. I was still doing cell phones. And I would try to encourage other people, like they're in EMS, become an entrepreneur, like, fight for themselves too. And I remember because they would ask me like, hey man, why you repairing? You repair phones, you repair this and that. Can you repair this one or sell me a phone or sell me this and that? And I would call it making money while you're making money, right? So being at work, and sometimes I would take the phone and I would repair it there in between calls. But there was something that I saw being in the ambulance. There was this elder individual that was broke and retired. And it got me thinking about that. I remembered how my dad retired, and I thought, man, this man worked from 18 years old until age 65. So many years. What is it, 47 years? And he doesn't get enough. It's not enough money to sustain him. Like, he dropped off a whole lifestyle. He had to reduce with the income that he's getting now from Social Security. And this other individual that I picked up in the ambulance was pretty much in the same position, if not worse. They couldn't even afford their medication. And it just had me thinking about it, right? So I started looking into finances, about retirement products, 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs, TRS, TSPs. There's a ton of products out there. And so I started asking people questions. I asked my coworkers first, hey, do you know how a 401k works? We have it, right? And they're like, yeah, we have it, but I don't know how it works. So, okay, well, I have a few sisters that are accountants, and I have, family members, and they're older. So I started asking my family members, hey, how does a 401k work? I don't know. So, okay, well, who can I ask? And I asked my supervisors. And at the time, they were losing money. So I'm like, oh, God, I don't want your advice.
Right.
So
don't take the advice of someone you don't want to trade places with.
Right, exactly. So then, as I just started asking questions, eventually my brother-in-law, he sets me up with, I guess, like an interview with somebody that does the 401ks, the rollovers and all that. And I go to this meeting, and they're explaining, all these things, 401ks, IRAs, the different types of interest crediting strategies, fixed, variable, indexed. And I'm like, I need to learn this stuff. But the best way to learn it is actually be inside, right? Like if you want to go and learn the recipe at Blanquita's restaurant, you might as well go and become a waitress.
Right.
Or a cook.
Yeah, work in the kitchen.
Yeah. So that's how I saw it. I said, if I want to learn about this, it's not by what they tell me, by what I read, but how I practice it.
Right.
And the outcome that I get from it. So I thought, let me work inside. Yeah. I asked the guy, I was like, hey, so how do I do what you do? He said, well, get licensed. Okay. So how do I get licensed? What are the process? He's like, look, sign up. Let's get your license. I'll walk you through the process. I said, all right, cool. And I made that investment myself. Now, as I'm learning about this, I started making money with it too. So eventually now I feel like, I feel more empowered because during the pandy, as you called it, I like it. During the pandy, they start telling me, hey, you need the vaccine. You need the vaccine. And I'm like, no, I don't. I already had COVID. They said, no, you need it. I said, no, I don't. If I recall correctly from medical school, you develop the antibodies, they're going to fight against it. Therefore, I don't need the actual vaccine if I already had the actual virus. And we're just going back and forth. And I felt empowered because I had more money. I had a backup. I wasn't just relying on a job. So they started threatening me, hey, if you don't get it, we're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do that. You're going to have hours reduced and blah, blah. I was like, do it, bro. Come at me. Huh? Fire me. Bring it. Yeah. So I got a little cocky with it then because by then I was already making, I was matching my income on a few months just with insurance alone, with financial services alone. So, and then I still had the cell phone business that would still bring in another 5, 10K a month. Well, I was making more money outside of work than I was at work, but I still needed that security. And so it's a mental thing. You know that you can do it, but you still don't want to do it.
Right.
So it's just a fear of the unknown.
It takes guts. It does take guts. And I'm not saying this because I have a lot of entrepreneur friends. And I'm not saying it because I'm an entrepreneur. Man, you got to roll the dice sometimes and go bet on yourself. It's hard.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I did. So the year of 2021, I just mustered up the courage. Some guy from Australia was messaging me. He's a motivational speaker. He's a mental trainer, personal growth. And so he asked me the question. He's like, hey, how are things going? Blah, blah. I said, going great. He's like, so what's stopping you from moving on to the next level? I said, well, I guess I need to leave my job and really just fly. He says, so what's stopping you? Well, I think I need to feel a little bit more sure before I actually do it. He's like, so when is that going to happen? And so he's just walking me down these questions that I should have just been asking myself.
But sometimes it takes an outside perspective.
Right.
It really does. We all know the things to do, but if a friend of yours says, hey, man, maybe you should start working out more.
Yeah.
Or maybe you should put down that cake. I know I don't need that cake. But if a friend's like, yeah, if a friend of mine, it's vegan. No. Right now, I'm on a mission right now. I'm getting there. But if a friend says it, you're like, all right. If someone you respect says it, all right. So this guy was asking you these questions.
Yeah, he was walking me down and it made me so uncomfortable because he's right, And then I'm like, you know what? I'll make a decision here in the next few months. So guess what? In the next few months, he follows up with me. He's like, hey, how's it going? Did you already make the decision? No, it's because this is another form of excuse, right? He's like, you said it last time. So what's stopping you now? I said, you know what? You're right. And that is like, that was it. So I made a decision. I said, look, it's either I'm going to sink or swim. One or the other. I need to figure this thing out, but I know that I can make it happen. So I put in my 2 weeks notice. And at that time in financial services, part-time, I was making, I think it was $28,000. So it was only $2,000 a month. That was just like consistent. Sometimes I had higher months. And I was making 60 as a medic.
Okay.
So that's a huge pay cut. Like if you just want to focus on one thing.
Right. For sure. It's almost 30 G pay cut.
Yeah. So then, and I have a family. I'm married at this time. I have another child, a whole support, that I need. So I make the decision. I put in my 2 weeks notice and I have everybody at work asking me, hey, Abram, but what are you going to do? How are you going to pay this? How are you going to pay for health insurance? I was like, I'm a grown man. I can do this on my own. I don't need somebody to be paying my bills. So that's when you just get ballsy and just decide to, just run off against the wall.
Yeah.
And so I know that I offended a few people. I
That's
did it
okay.
intentionally too.
Yeah,
You know?
fine. Back up your words. I've been saying this lately. Get yourself a pair of shoes that's 2 sizes too big and then grow into them.
There you go.
You know, you'll
Yeah.
grow into it.
Yeah.
We're not done growing.
Mm-hmm. So that's how I saw it. But again, like I needed a challenge. So when I became ballsy and I was like kind of challenging and talking a little bit of smack to people, like about it, like their work specifically. Like I told this one guy, I'm leaving and you're still going to be here. I've been telling you about this for I don't know how long. You're still going to be here. It was because I wanted that discomfort for me. Like, in other words, now I know that I got all eyes on me.
The accountability
The
factor.
accountability.
And I do that. I'm a big supporter of that mindset. I talk a game. I talk mad smack to anyone that will listen. The downside is now I got to do it.
Exactly.
I have told friends, family, strangers.
Mhm.
I've told strangers, like, I'm going to do this thing. And they're like, okay, my name's Joey. I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm Jacob. I'm going to do this thing.
Yeah.
And it holds you accountable. And don't get me wrong. If I'm being completely honest with you, I have fallen short.
Mm.
Everybody fails, but you fall forward, as they say. And you have short-term memory.
Mhm.
It's so funny. Like, you can be haunted by things and they drive you, which some of the things do drive me. But if it's just a checkpoint, hey, it's okay to pivot. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I wanted to be this Comedy Central kind of comic. And then I started touring the world and I realized I wanted to be a citizen of Earth after that.
Mm.
I'm like, I'm not looking for your idea of success. Now I'm looking for satisfaction and fulfillment. And I decided, you know what? I really want to make it a habit to have as many warm embraces as possible. I want to be able to break bread with as many people as possible, gain perspective. And as a result, I've become better at almost everything I do because now it's not just about me, it's about us.
Right.
But those bold statements are still made. I
Yep.
still say that thing. I'm going to do this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The accountability, it's huge. It helps, even though because it creates a discomfort, because you already let it out. It's not just up here. It's one thing to think about it. I'm going to do this. And it's another thing to actually say it. Now you're growing, you know, without being, too vulgar, but now you're growing a bag.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's necessary, especially because if you're truly going to go and force yourself to become an individual that you weren't before, you have to start saying these things.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I said them, the people that I offended, that, that they didn't like what I said, was the people that I was working with. Now I remember why they don't talk to me.
Right. Well, it's just like any professional athlete. No one becomes the heavyweight champion of the world by saying, maybe I could do this.
Right.
No, they're sure. They're like, and they may never get there, but they're sure until it's over.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm going to go get this thing.
Right.
Name a successful person that thought, I hope this happens.
Right.
No, any line of work, any career path, they go after it. They go after it, like you said, with a sack.
Mm-hmm.
So you went into this, you went inside the belly of the beast, and you decided to learn from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
What happened then?
So, because I was now surrounded with other individuals that were entrepreneur mindset, right? And they were thinking and they were talking, dreams. They were dreaming like I hadn't dreamt before. And I hadn't started really thinking of possibilities like as you do as a child, right? When you're a child, oh my gosh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to take care of my family. I want to retire my parents. I want blah, blah. And sometimes we get caught up in life and it gets difficult and it starts beating us down and we stop dreaming, right? Do you know the story of the monkeys that climbed up on a ladder?
I don't think I do. Tell them, what is the story that you're talking about?
Okay. So I think this is like the perfect time to do it. I don't think I've shared with other people.
Okay.
So in a room, there was sometimes scientists that they were doing some sort of behavioral study, and they have 5 monkeys in a room, and then there's a ladder in the middle of the room, and on top of the ladder there's a few bananas hanging, right? So all they got to do is they go up into the ladder, they go to the top, grab the bananas, and then come down and eat it, right? So what happens is there's one monkey, he builds a courage, he goes up the ladder, And as he's climbing up, he's almost there. He gets sprayed with cold water. And so he doesn't like it, right? He runs back down. And he tries it again. He gets sprayed with cold water. And then, so there's another monkey. He's like, hey, maybe it's not going to happen to me. So he goes and he climbs, he gets sprayed with cold water. Then another one. And so now the next one, the third one that tries climbing up, the other monkeys, they pull him down. Like, don't do it. Don't do it because there's cold water. It's going to hurt. And then the next ones, like now they're all stopping each other.
Mm-hmm.
So none of them is going up for the bananas. And then what they do is they remove one of the monkeys and then they replace it with a new one that had never gone up.
Mm-hmm.
So now the new one sees the bananas, they run up. And then before he gets like just a few steps onto the ladder, the other monkeys, they jump on top of him and they pull him down. And then so he never even got halfway. He never even got sprayed. Right? So now they replace another one of the monkeys that had already been sprayed with one that had not. And so now there's 2 clean monkeys that had never been sprayed, and there's 3 of them that have.
Mm-hmm.
So the new one, same thing, try running up, and even the new one that had never been sprayed now pulls him down too.
Have you never had that adversity?
Exactly. And then so now they replace the third one that had been sprayed with one that hadn't. And so now they remove all the sprayed ones with all the ones that have never been sprayed. And none of them have gone up for the banana because they all kept just pulling them down. They've never had the adversity. They never even experienced it. But now it's a fear of what's going to happen.
Wow.
And that happens a lot with people like us, because you have so many individuals. No, but what if it fails? No, but what if this? What if this? Dude, are you even going to try it, bro? Are you going to, are you going to muster up the courage? Are you going to fight for something? Because at the end of the day, you're not necessarily fighting for you, but you're fighting for everybody that's around you. They're going to be the ones to witness your success.
And I mean, if you do your job right, they're the ones that are going to benefit from it too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any of us, people like you, people like me, and the people we surround ourselves with, we don't just win for us, we win for ours.
Yeah.
We win for the people around us to prove them right.
Mm-hmm.
You can prove the doubters wrong, but let's prove the supporters right. That's an amazing story. I'd never heard that. And I've seen videos, I've read stuff, and I've never heard that. And it's true. People are afraid to go for it. I remember an encounter I had with a young woman not too long back. I have a side project I want to work on. And she said, that's amazing, Jacob. You're doing so good. And then she gave me a list of reasons why it wouldn't work. And I'm like, how do we take such a weird turn? Like, when do we take the wrong turn at Albuquerque? She was so proud of me. And then she just like, well, you have to look after this. You have to look after that. And then you got to think about this, and started just setting up roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And without being condescending to her, because I realized that she was trying to be helpful in her own defeatist way. She's not the person to do this kind of thing. I said, well, my brain doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
You just found 6 reasons why I can't do it. I'm going to give you 36 reasons why I can.
Yep.
And then she goes, oh, fair enough. I'm rooting for you, babe. Cool. And she was. But it is about conditioning. It is about telling your friends, hey, you got sprayed by water. Maybe next time I won't.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll run out of water.
Mm-hmm.
And I realize we're comparing ourselves to monkeys here, but keep on going up, keep on going up. They're going to have to refill that water at one point.
Yeah. There you
so
go.
Keep on going up, and help your friend up. Maybe give them a little boost. If they're like doing one little rung at a time, give them a little boost and they spray them and hits them in the butt. It's like a kiss my keister on the way up, Good. I was meaning to clean it anyway.
There you go.
So boom. Yeah. A bidet. A bidet. So what do you say? So you ended up taking these steps. I've talked to you before, and I've actually seen some of your presentations, which, by the way, I had the pleasure of seeing this man speak in Las Vegas, Nevada. We were in Las Vegas in a room full of other fellow entrepreneurs, and my friend Abram goes up there, and he's like, Abram stuff, more Abram stuff. Here's Abram. Thank you very much. And I've been able to watch you speak, but it's very clear that you have a passion for what you're doing. I see the person you are, and you are trying to guide people. You are trying to help them. The stuff that you've learned, you're sharing with others. So what is it about the financial world and insurance that gets you bubbling, that gets you percolating? What is it you like about it?
That's a really good question. I think, there was multiple things that got me looking into it. Was broken retired, and I don't want to be broken retired. So you just even start thinking about that. you will realize that nobody wants to be broke and retired. Everybody wants an incredible life. They want to retire and they want to enjoy it. So why are they not? So where's the failure? The failure is the lack of preparation. It's the same problem to so many other things. And the way that I saw it was, okay, if I can, because again, we're going right back to being the example, right, for your family. So if I can do it, if I learn how to do it, now I've done it by example, my kids are going to ask me. I have 3 kids. My kids are all going to ask me, hey, Dad, I like what you did. Tell me what you did. Now they're going to want my advice. But if I don't set it up and if I have a horrible outcome and I'm just broke like everybody else and retired like so many others, not everybody else, they're not even going to ask me what I did. They're going to go and ask their friends. And I want them to ask me. Because if you want the respect of being their father, their parent, which all parents want the respect of their children, all right? If they want the respect, then they have to earn it.
Right.
Right. So with that measure, I thought, I need to do this first. And how long is it going to take me? How long can I stay focused? But guess what? If I can do it for myself and I can find a way, if I start teaching other people how to do it, then maybe it's going to go further than my family. Maybe now it's going to make changes and ripple effect into other people's lives. Yeah. So I started sitting with people and I started asking them, hey, do you know about fixed variable indexed strategies for growing money? No, I've never heard of these. Let me show you real quick, 5 minutes. Fixed works like this, guaranteed rate of return, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%. Variable works like this. It's going to be a stocks, bonds, mutual funds, potential high return, but you're also at a very high risk. Then you have indexing. When the market goes up, you get the interest. When the market goes down, you don't lose money. Of these 3, which one would you put it in? I would go with indexing. I would go with variable. I would go with fixed. Cool. Did you know about this before? Never heard of it. How old are you? 40, 50, 60, 80, 20. And that's where I started measuring and seeing that out of 10 people that I would sit with, 8 had no idea what I was talking about. So I just opened up a huge market for me. And I started thinking like, okay, I have an opportunity to start changing people and the way that we see things here. This is something that moves me because it might take a while. It might be a continuous fight and a battle, but I am willing to fight for it. Now, I've been offered to move to Houston with my mentor and just to, and share an office over there with them and, grow the business over there. But what kept me here was exactly that, seeing how many people need it.
Once again, I'm surrounded by good people. That's another thing. That was a mistake. The cake's delicious, but I'm eating this cake and I'm all like, it's delicious, but
It is.
I need to get something crispy before next podcast or eat bigger power bar. But just because it's making me all. That's the thing that me and Rebecca were talking about the other day, just about being hardworking isn't enough. And people sometimes condemn the hardworking and be like, it's not that they're not afraid of hard work. They just don't know where to invest their time. They don't have all the resources all the time. They don't have the education or the proper information to make the slightest pivot. And you just said 8 out of 10 of these people didn't know what you were talking about. It's because they don't have the information. Someone like you provides these opportunities to invest in themselves, because this is a region full of hard workers.
Right.
People work themselves literally to the bone, sun up, sun down. Migrant farm workers is a thing. They go to other states to make money during the summer, come back over here. It's not a lack of effort. It's a lack of information.
Yep.
The opportunity is there, but you need someone to guide you. You need to ask questions. And I want the people out there to know that you can get outside your comfort zone. You can ask a question. You can seek knowledge and information. Don't be worried about sounding silly. If you have a question, a thirsty person's going to want some water. Don't be afraid to quench your thirst. And someone like you in the world of finance has an ocean full of water. So I think it's amazing that you do that. So when you talk to somebody and you guide them, what's the next step from there? Because right now you said you got 5 minutes. You say this one, this one, this one. Which one do you like? What then?
But then, so now we got whatever they choose. It's okay. So if you like, which most of them, they're going to go with index because they like the safety and they want the returns. They want no losses.
Mhm.
And there's some people are going to want to go with variable, which is stocks, bonds, mutual funds. And they're okay with risk, right? You don't risk it, you don't get nothing.
You don't get the biscuit.
You don't get the biscuit.
Right.
So, but now who can afford to be in that risk all the time would be
Right.
the question.
Sure.
Right. So you can risk it for a certain period of time, but then it's like eventually you're going to get into a stage where you're like, okay, all right, I can't afford any more risk. I'm 40, 50 years old and I can't be playing with my money anymore. Right. And so the next step is, of these three, which one do you want? Okay. If you want indexing, where can you get it? You can only get it through an insurance company because they're the ones that you're handing over the risk to them. So whenever it drops, they provide you with safety. It's a 0% floor. You're never going to have any losses. Okay. Now, I move on to the next part of it. So let's combine it because everybody wants to save for their future. The other one is, so let me tell you a little bit about what it is that we do. Right? We teach people with about 401k rollovers, IRA, Roth IRA rollovers, life insurance, long-term care annuities, and debt settlement. So if somebody just recently moved out from a job, they have a 401k. Some people, there's actually more people that are willing to spend that money. They're willing to pay the taxes and the penalties, which is a total 30% right off the top of their investment, just to go and spend it. And instead, why not keep it if it's the only savings that you have, why not continue to grow it? So what we do is, if you want indexing, let's move it over. Never have a loss. We continue to compound interest on it year after year. Whenever you retire, you have a private pension. Now you're going to have income for the rest of your life.
Right now, listening to you talk, I definitely, of course, everyone I want to have on the show multiple times, but I want to have like little seminars and little tutorials. And we're like, you remember Abram Caballero? He's here to talk about this thing for the next 10 minutes.
There you go.
Like tutorials, we can definitely do that and have some fun with that because it is a lot of information. But so someone reaches out to you, how do they even start their line of questioning? Someone just says, hey, Abram, I'm thinking about retirement. Do you meet up with them in person? Do you have a phone call? How does someone actually, because right now you're talking about 5 minutes and you're giving me all the information, them and the information. If somebody wants to contact you and start this process of financial planning, how do they get a hold of you and what's the next step?
They can send me a text to, I'll send my number.
Yeah, it's your number. You can share it if you want, man.
It's 956-466-9109. You can call me, text me. I have a lot of people that reach out to me through social media. And so they'll just ask, hey, you know what? I want to learn a little bit more about it. I've had this curiosity. I've been looking into the stuff. It's just, I'm so hesitant because I can't trust people. And some of them will tell me, look, I saw this on social media. I liked how they presented it, but I was so hesitant. And then when I reach out to them, it just seems so fishy. So what I do is I like to meet with people in person. And then from there is either through Zoom or in person, if we can do it here. Or I'll go out to them if it's anywhere here in the Valley.
We can have a chulo cake here.
A chulo cake, yeah, we definitely need
as long as you're not hosting a podcast. A chulo cake is the answer.
Yeah. Dude, but you need to try their other, they have a cookie that they have, man. Oh my gosh.
Love it. I'm like this.
Yeah.
So they reach out to you on your phone or social media. Where do they find you on social media?
Yeah. So I live more on Facebook than any other social media platform. I do have TikTok. I do have YouTube. I do have, Instagram, LinkedIn. I hardly ever log into LinkedIn.
Fair enough.
So Facebook is probably the place that you can find me the most. I have the most posts there. I'm constantly posting stories.
And that's Abram Caballero. How do you spell Abram?
Abram. It's Abram Hamless. There's no Abraham. Hamless.
That's why I said to spell it, because a lot of people will be like, Abraham, I'm going to look up Abram Caballero, and then they'll find some other guy eating a lonche. But if they want you, they're going to find Abram Caballero.
Yeah. And I recently even did a Google search on me because I know that several people have told me, hey, I had to Google you. And so if you have any curiosity on how to save money, grow money, getting out of debt, we have a program for debt relief. You end up paying less than what you actually owe. But we also teach people to do exactly what I did. So I walk them through every single step of getting their license and becoming an entrepreneur as well. So you can reach out to me, send me a text. Hey, I'm curious. I just want to learn a little bit more. Let's connect. Let's talk. Let's, jump on the Zoom. Let's get together.
And one thing I do want to say is it's always good to be cautious, but skepticism, a lot of times you want to leave that at the door. You use your own best judgment. You meet a person in person, you can see how they are. You know their demeanor. You can look into their eyes and be like, this guy is going to guide me right. This lady's going to take me to the promised land, whatever the case may be. Use your best judgment. But I've known you and I wouldn't have had you on the show if you were that sketchy guy. I knew some of your story. I didn't know all of it. And we still don't. We'll have him on the podcast soon enough. But what a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Dude.
You want to have lunch?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go have some lunch.
I already know where.
Yeah. We're gonna go have lunch. But again, you go ahead. Don't feel silly if you have questions. And it's not just for Abram, it's in life. But also any of your financial needs when you're in the Rio Grande Valley. Because it's Rio Grande Valley, or do you do Texas? Or
we do multiple states, actually. I'm licensed in multiple states. I build teams in multiple states.
Okay. So reach out. At the end of the day, nobody wants to think about being responsible, but it would be in your best interest to do that. Think about tomorrow because you're worth it. You deserve it. So on behalf of Abram Caballero and myself, the JJG, you all rock the day, rule the night, and keep shining.
I do have something to say. I want to add to this.
Okay.
Because I think that a lot of people will say, hey, you know what? I'll reach out to you for this. There's also men, people just in general that reach out to me for any sort of mental health or help because I've come out of these addictions, because I've been able to defeat and just overcome so many things. Don't hesitate in reaching out. Maybe we can just build a friendship. If you have any questions on business, I also do talk to many business owners and coach them through, several things or show them what I did to make things better. So anything that you want to reach out for, do so. Even if it's not for, saving money, growing money, getting out of debt, no problem. Just reach out. Let's connect. If there's anything that I can do for you, serve you in any way, I'll gladly do so.
See, he didn't even wait for the episode to be over. He started shining again right now. How's ladies, everyone keep shining. He's like, I'm going to shine some more. I'm not done. I got lots of twinkle left. And you do, man. You do. So all y'all out there, this is Abram Caballero. And for the second time in one sitting, keep shining.
Later.
Perfect.
That was cool. I like
Perfect.
That. That was awesome. I like the setting and everything.
Yeah, no. This worked out beautifully. Now I just need to make sure that sound is good.